Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Marwell Manor. We are getting ready to plough out field 1, get rid of all those weeds and make that field ready for planting tomorrow. Let's take our 6M over to our equipment shed. And we have 2 ploughs and we're going to be getting rid of both of them at the end of the day. We're going to plough out fields... Oh, actually no. If we're going to... no, we're not going to do it till next summer. We'll probably get a different plough next year. So, yeah, we're going to use the 6M for this job. It's slightly underpowered, but we've already put a lot of hours on the 7R. I'd like to kind of give that a little bit of a breather. So we have 2 ploughs. We're going to get rid of one of them today. Take it to the store and get some money back for it. We'll hang on to the other one, possibly. I'm just trying to think. No, we'll take them both. We'll trade them both in. That'll give us a little bit of extra cash. Not a lot, but a little bit of extra cash. And then, you know, we're not going to need another one, you know, until sort of the end of the year. And hopefully by then we'll have a decent bit of money. We could possibly even go with a bigger plough. And ideally, if we're going to be creating a field from scratch, it's going to be quite a long field. I do think maybe going up to like a 5-metre plough might be a better option for us in terms of creating a new field from scratch. So, which way is the plough facing? It's facing the right way. Good. Let's get on the edge of the field here. Need to rip up all this old kind of lodged soil that's very heavily infested with weeds. We're going to really kind of grind this ground up, chop these weeds down and make this field nice and usable again. The plan is that tomorrow we'll be planting our soybean crop on this field. You see just how covered this field is. Absolutely overgrown, in dire need of some TLC. It's going to take us a while to do this field. I'm just going to do it with the one tractor. Again, we're hiring workers as and when we absolutely need to. We're going to try and do as much of the jobs ourselves as we possibly can. And seeing as this is pretty much our only job for the day, apart from some sort of, you know, little bits of maintenance work here and there, you know, this is a job that we can do ourselves. We're not going to bother hiring a worker. We'll do the whole field ourselves. And then, as I say, we'll be paying a trip to the store. We'll trade the ploughs in. If we can see something in the store that is actually worth us getting, then we might possibly end up actually trading the ploughs for something rather than just taking the cash. But I don't think there's anything that we can really, you know, pick up that isn't going to cost us more than we can afford to spend. So I think we will literally just be converting these ploughs into cash. Right, let's drop the plough again on this corner here. So got it stuck in a hedge. Really isn't any space to move here, is there? It's so tight against the edge of the fields, and the edge of boundaries. Really, there we go. He bounced around an awful lot here. Not surprising, really. You can see how dark it is in this little area here in the shadows. The sun behind those trees at the moment. As we crest the corner, or crest that big tree there, you can see the light starting to spill across the field just a little bit further ahead of us. Let's get some working lights on so we can see a little bit clearer. There we go, look at that. Much brighter, much easier to see where we're going and also where we've been as well. we've got a little over 16 grand left in the bank. Loan fees overnight hit us again, unfortunately. That's something that we're just going to have to deal with until we can afford to get that loan cleared away completely. At the very least, we will be reducing it down a bit through this year. Hopefully we can make a good chunk of it go away, but at the very least we'll be clearing off a decent amount of it. So there we go. Back and turned again, and this also gives me a good opportunity to kind of size up this top section of field 19 as well, as we kind of drive along here, kind of figure out just how I want to cut my field. I've had two thoughts on this overnight as to how I want to think about cutting up field 19, and I'm in two minds. One is that we do what we discussed yesterday, which is to plough out that whole section all the way along the top from one edge of the field all the way across to the other. And the other one that's kind of springing to mind a little bit is to maybe go keep the grass for this section of the field, and then go from that far border over there, just north of the tractor there, so that far side on the left of the field, and run that all the way down to the bottom of the field there, and make that a field, so that the grass is kind of the other side. We'll have land here that we can work on this side, grass there, and then at that side we'll have land that we can work as well. I don't know yet. I'm trying to think ahead, and if I put a crop field along that part there, which is what I was thinking about, then I would need to leave an access road along the side of the field, so that I can get the equipment through to work it, to work the grass without driving over the crops. Whereas if we have the field along here, then it doesn't matter if we drive over the grass. It's grass. It'll just bounce back. It's not an issue. And I'm getting a real scope of just how long this field is as well, now that I can actually sort of drive alongside the hedge here, and it's really, really long. So I mean, that would be a huge field, whichever way we decide to do it. I mean, if I just jump out for a second and just hop through the fence, we had discussed about maybe making this section land here all the way across to that border. Now, in theory, given how long this field is, I could kind of just cut that line off here on this bit here, and then just run a straight line up there, and then have that as land, and then have this as grass, and that's then quite a big grass field still. I'm not 100% certain how I want to progress with that yet, whether I want to take it all the way to the very far edge, because then that's only going to leave me, I thought it would leave me quite a lot of grass, but on reflection it's not a huge amount. And we don't have any animals at the moment, so I mean, in terms of grass needs for hay and stuff, it's not a huge problem. But going forward, the more animals we get, the more grassland we're going to need for hay and for silage. And it just seems that perhaps, because that top section of field 19 is so big, I think maybe if we use this sort of hedge line here as a natural border, a natural kind of stop-off point, we could end the field along that hedge line there, and then we'd still have a really good-sized section of land for grass. I think that might be the better way to do it, and it will still give us a really good piece of arable land for us to actually plant crops on and get a decent sort of harvest return next year. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's how I'm going to break that field up, because at the moment it's just so big that there just isn't really a massive need for something that big. I mean, obviously this year we're going to work the whole thing. It kind of, as I said, we're not going to have enough money to plant and fertilise that field on top of the fields that we're working right now. So it just kind of, it doesn't seem as though doing this, planning this up this year is a clever idea, because we could work it as grassland. We could get a lot of bales off that as silage bales. We could sell those and make quite a lot of money. And if we were to rip that up and then not do anything with it until next year, when we can afford to, it just seems like a pointless exercise. It'd be better to just plough that out in the off season. Once we've got our harvests out the way, and that way we can really maximise the kind of money we could make this year in silage baling on that field. And it just works out better all round that way. So that's why we're not ploughing it out. This time round, we will get our grass work done once all of our crops are planted and starting to grow, and then once the grass work has been done and the harvests are in, then we'll plough that field up ready for the next round of planting. As I say, fingers crossed, we'll make quite a nice tidy sum from a lot of grass bales being turned into silage, and that can help significantly reduce our debt and maybe even fund new land or new equipment, or combination of both. It all depends just how many bales we can make off that field, and I reckon we could probably make quite a lot. We also need to go and open ourselves an account with the local biogas facility. Need to make sure that we have access and permission to use their facilities going forward. It may well be that we'll have to pay a sort of a fee for that, and I don't think we're going to have enough money this year. Well, maybe that might be what we might reinvest our plough money in, is acquiring sort of a permit to work at the BGA. We'll see how much it's going to cost us. So again, that's something else we can do today. Once we have finished ploughing out this field, we'll take a trip over to the biogas facility. We'll make some sort of inquiries, find out how much we're going to have to pay to gain access to the site and use the facilities there. Maybe even have our own allocated bunker or two, because we're not the only farm in the region that's being serviced by that facility, or has access to that facility. There are other farms there as well, so we, as I say, may well have to pay for some dedicated bunkers. We'll have to see. We'll see how much it's going to cost, whether that's a one-time fee for the duration of our stay, whether it's a short-term lease, a long-term sort of lease of bunkers. We need to find all that out, so we'll do that, as I say, once this field is done. We'll take these ploughs to the store, sell them, take a trip over to the BGA, and then that might be what we reinvest the money in. It would be a license to use those facilities. So I'm going to crack on, because we've got a lot of ploughing that needs to get done. It's going to take quite a while because it is a small plough, and I will see you in a little while. It's coming up on midday, and we're not making fast enough progress on this field. It's taking a very, very long time to do. So we are going to need to kind of draft in the 7R after all. Get some help getting this field ploughed who want to get it done and still go off and do other things like trade the ploughs in and head off to the BGA. So just trying to get the 7R refilled. I had it actually refilling a second ago, and I pulled away because I didn't see the gauge moving, and now I can't seem to refill my tractor. Let's try this again. Let's move away a bit and come back again. No, it's still not going up. That's very odd. There we go. Need to refill the tank on the 6M as well. That thing is getting very low. And you can see that my money's going down because I've had to, do maintenance on the plows, maintenance on both the tractors, and now fuel costs as well. I mean, yeah, fuel's not exactly a lot, but it's all adding up. So all that extra money that we had has just disappeared, which is not so good. We've now got enough money left over to seed and fertilise field 1, and that's about it. So yeah, we definitely need the money from the plows to give us the money to then put that additional fertiliser down on field 14, sorry, field 18, and possibly field 15 as well. Now here you can see this is how much progress I have made so far. I've got a border around the field, got all of that section done there. And still got all of this to do. So if we start about here, we're going to get a worker to run the 7R for us. We're going to go and jump into the 6M and take that to be refueled, and then we'll come back and we'll continue to work in the 6M. Make sure that we run that while the 7R works the top half of the field, and try and split this thing in two, get it sped up, because as I say, it's taken me several hours to do what I've done so far, and at this rate we are going to run out of light before we run out. We're going to run out of time before we finish the field off, which is obviously a bit of a problem for us. I mean, I suppose we could always go and trade the ploughs in tomorrow, but I would like to try and get them done today if I can. It means it's slightly less equipment we have to worry about maintaining, and keeps us, with a healthy-ish kind of bank balance. Plus it means I'll have the money to seed and fertilise the field tomorrow, because with wage costs for running this field, that now is starting to become a slight doubt as well. We really are up against it this year. Oh, it's just which way is my 7R going to turn? I hope he's going to turn to the right. He's backing up. Which way is he going? I think he's still backing up. Don't tell me he's still... Oh, no, there's the turn. Okay, yes, it looks as though he's going to work on the right-hand side. That's good. We'll double-check when we come back. But for now, we're going to go and refuel this. We've hammered both of our tractors. The 7R has well over 10 hours of runtime on it already. We've got 8.5 hours on this, and we've drained the fuel tanks effectively. A lot of work has gone into these two machines, and a lot more still to come. There we go, fuel going in. It's a smallish tank, so it shouldn't cost us too much, a couple of hundred maybe. At 279, that's not too bad. So back we go then to field 1. We'll continue the ploughing, and I'll update you once we've made a bit more progress. It's a little after 2 o'clock in the afternoon now, and you can see that we are starting to make progress a lot faster. Obviously there's the period of ploughing that we've done ourselves over here, plus we've kind of slightly doubled it, well, more than doubled it, because the 7R is running at a faster speed than us. We're running at about 6 miles an hour. The 7R can run at the full 7. It has those extra horsepowers available. Although I am slightly quicker in getting the 6M turned around and back on the task compared to the AI. So it's been running really smoothly, no real issues. The only problem, of course, is that we're spending money doing this, when before we were, just kind of not really incurring any wage costs. Now we are having to pay out a little bit, but I reckon, we can probably get somewhere in the region of around 17 grand or so for the ploughs when we're done, when we trade those in at the end. So we will recoup the money that we've lost today in terms of maintenance and fuel and wages, and that money will come back to us, and we'll be able to use that for for planting on this field, and then hopefully to fertilise on field 18 as well. If we can't fertilise all of our fields, then I say all of it, it's only both of our fields really. This one, don't forget, already has that stage of fertiliser applied, so we just need to plant this field with the Pronto, and it'll fertilise it to stage 2 while we're doing that. So we only have to apply another stage of fertilisers to fields 18 and 15. We'll see how much money we have left after planting. I'm hoping we're going to have enough to do both of those 2 fields, but if we don't, then as long as we have enough to do at least one of the fields, then we can certainly get a nice improvement in the yield of our crop and make some additional money out of it at the end of the year. And who knows, maybe if we can get some grass work done, we might still have time to come back and apply a stage of fertiliser to the field that is missing a stage, if we can only get one of them done. So if we can only do field 18, for example, and then we get our grass work done while the crops are growing, and we still have a little bit of time left, we might possibly, before it finishes growing, we might be able to spread some fertiliser on field 15 and give that the boost. So it's not all doom and gloom. We have got an opportunity to make sure that all of our crops come in with a full fertilisation boost. We'll just have to see how well we can do on that. 7R just pulling away from us as we move along here. Not too much left of the field to do, as you can see. Probably, let's see, given that the field extends down there and we've got that bit done, we've done more than half the field, as you can see. I would say we're looking at probably somewhere in the region of about 2/3 of the field done, maybe even 3/4. So it shouldn't take us more than another couple of hours, I think, to get this field finished off with both of our tractors running. And that still gives us time to head over to the store before they close, and pop over to the BGA as well. So I'll carry on plodding my way through this field, and I'll catch up with you again in a little while. So I've switched over to the 7R because we're now getting to the sort of fiddlier side of this part of the field. We can leave the 6M to run the nice and straightforward up and down section in that little middle strip that still remains there. There's a few passes there. The 6R can handle that, while we have this sloped side to deal with. So this is where the AI is going to struggle a bit more. So by taking control of the 7R and dealing with this section ourselves, it stops any issues with getting this field done in a timely manner. You can see we're about 3:30 now, so time is starting to tick away from us. But we still have enough time to get things done. Oops, just drifted ever so slightly there. Okay. I'm trying to use the front wheel on the furrow as my guide point for where the plough needs to be. which is why I'm kind of driving with this overhead view. Makes it easier to stay in a straight line. And there you can see it's down to just a thin point at this end of the field, so the trickier, sort of more technical bit, well, I say technically it's just a slope, isn't it? But you can see there, you can see how the field opens up at that side, and that's where the AI is going to struggle a bit and miss quite a few patches, which is why we switched over. There we go. So just need to kind of run up this way a little bit more. There we go. And we'll do one more pass along the border as well, probably just to, at the end, just to make sure that the edge of the field is properly prepped and cleaned. But looking good so far. And I reckon we'll be done by 5 o'clock, which is fine. The store is not scheduled to close till around 6:30, 7 o'clock tonight, so we have got time to get there. The only question is whether or not we'll have time to get to the BGA. That is due to close around about 5:30, 6 o'clock, so we might have to forego the BGA for another day. But as long as we can get the money from the ploughs back today, then that means that we'll be in a good position financially overnight for seed and fertiliser purposes tomorrow. Hopefully we'll see a little bit of growth on our crops overnight as well, as we sort of transition into the later part of our spring. And turn my plough. There we go. Right. Time for another little jump ahead, and I'll see you in a moment. Looks like there may be just 1 or 2 passes remaining for our 7R there, oh sorry, our 6M, after the one that he's on. We haven't got much of the field left ourselves. We're almost done here. Getting this done a little bit faster than I thought. It's just gone, well, just reached 20 past 4. Oops. Help if I drop the plough, wouldn't it? There we go. And we're pretty much done, so we're going to take both of the ploughs to the store, and because I don't want to take 2 separate tractors down, we're going to stick one on the front, one on the back of the 7R. Now that's going to make us quite an unwieldy object on the road, and a definite hazard to other road users, especially given that there are some blind corners that we're going to have to worry about, and also I don't want to have to swing out wide, completely unsighted, into the main road with a plough stuck on the front and trailing one behind. You know, we could do some serious damage to another vehicle or even a pedestrian if we're really unlucky, that we just can't see. So we're going to take the back roads through our fields. Over by field 15 there is a sort of a dirt road that cuts through some neighbouring fields, and there's a loop up to the back of the store, so we're going to be using that as a way to get both of the ploughs safely to the store without causing any major issues on the road. Generally we're going to be using the road for, you know, travelling back and forth to the store. You know, we don't own the land, so you know, we are going to have to sort of, you know, we have had to ask permission from nearby landowners to cut through their property, and you know, it's something that we're going to be doing only on occasion. you know, so as not to disrupt, as I say, other farmers, or potentially mess their land at all. So it's only if we have something particularly hazardous on the road that we'll be using that route. Otherwise, we'll just stick to using the road itself to transport anything to and from our farm. But you can see now just a couple of runs left in this little section here. How's the 6M getting on? Can't really see at the moment, it's a little bit too far away. Oops, we've missed a weed. We'll go back and grab that in a second. And once we're done here, we'll do a quick sort of check just to make sure that the field is fully cleaned. But I think we've got everything we need to done. So this was the last, particularly, horrible job that we had to get done this year, which was to get this field ploughed out. And it's the last time, I hope, that we'll be using such small ploughs. As I say, when we come to do this field here in the off season, I'm going to look to get a much bigger plough to really speed up that process, because it's not a particularly wide strip of land, but it's a very long strip of land. So having a very long plough is going to help us, because it'll get done much quicker. And then hopefully, depending on how successful we are with that, we may keep that going forward if we decide to open up new fields. We'll have to see. I mean, I'm not planning on creating any additional plots of land. I mean, if we are going to expand the farm, we'll probably just purchase suitable plots, and we've got our subsoiler now as well, so we can use that to kind of clean a field going forward. But obviously with this grass meadow here, we actually have to create the field, and we can't do that with a subsoiler. We are going to need a physical plough for that. So you see the sun starting to cast some interesting shadows a little bit. We're getting a bit of a warmer glow from the sun as it is starting to fade and set in the distance. Where is the sun? Can we see it yet? There it is, starting to come down. And I think 6M is on its final pass. It is, look. So look at that, beautiful. Both of our ploughs finishing at pretty much the same time. That's excellent timing, that is. Is that a weed on the side of the bush over there? No, it's just a bit of grass, I think. We'll run the plough over it just to be on the safe side. Oh no, it was a weed. Yep, there we go. So we got rid of the last of that weed. In fact, let's check. Are we done? Have we ploughed everything on the field? Let's have a look. Yes, we have. The field is now completely cleaned. Beautiful. So we can turn these back on, and you can see we've got no trace of, well, I've got a few thin traces of weed. It's not a major issue in terms of those little bits. The seeder will be able to chew those up for us. That's fine. We have got a lime state needed, but we're going to turn that off. And there you can see we have that fertilizer state already. So time for us to take these two ploughs over to the store. Send them, send a bit of financial misfortune. Well, what am I saying? Send a bit of financial, gain a bit of financial fortune, and improve our money situation a little bit. We're down to just over 6,000, which is probably enough to do that field, but not much else after that. So we definitely need to definitely need to get some extra income. Otherwise, we won't be able to fertilise fields 18 and 15. And this would certainly give us the money to do both of those fields, I would imagine. So let's get these ploughs cleaned off as well before we take them back. Okay, there we go. So let's spin this one around. We drop that just there. That makes it easier for the 7R to hook up to it. We'll move this and park this just here, and we'll give these a good clean as well before we put them away. But for now, just want to get hooked up. And you're about to see why it's going to be a little bit unwieldy for us on the main roads with the sort of the length of the vehicle. There we go. So we just jump out here. That is very, very hazardous on the roads. There's a lot of potential danger there, which is why, as I say, we're going to be using that sort of back road, so that we're not causing any danger to passers-by or other traffic. Might as well give the 7R a quick hose down as well, seeing as we're cleaning the ploughs that are attached to it. There we go. Let's get our beacons on anyway, just in case. And let's make our way over to the store. Still no growth on our fields there. Hopefully, as I say, we might see a little bit of growth overnight. Time will tell, of course. That's field 15, freshly planted yesterday with our canola crop. And here's that cut through that I was telling you about. We run down the side of this sort of grass meadow here. We cross over a little bridge, which is a nice little nature spot. You tend to see a few butterflies around there. So I'm always nice and careful around here. And then a couple of plots of land here you can see are growing away. It's like someone's got some sugar beets planted there. I'm not quite sure what that crop is off the top of my head. A little early to say yet. And then we cut up through this meadow here. And there is the store. There we go. So let's get these detached. There we go. And let's go have a chat with the dealers and see just how much they're prepared to give us for our two ploughs. Well, there we go. That was quite nice. We got just under 20,000, around about 19,000 for our two ploughs. That's good. That's quite a nice, healthy bit of cash. So we're back up to just under 26,000 there. And it's time for us to make a quick dash over to the BGA. Hopefully, they'll still be open. So here we are then, arriving at the sort of BGA facilities. There's quite a few different things over there. We've got an animal dealership over there, and at some point we will be returning to the dealership because we will be looking to get our livestock up and running. That probably won't happen till towards the end of this first year. Got a dairy just here that is currently under new management, so not open for business at the moment. While they have some restructuring going. And here is the BGA itself. So you can see there are a couple of bunkers. And we are going to see if we can gain lease rights or holding rights to one of these two bunkers so that we can come and do silage whenever we need to, which will mean sort of all hours access where we need it, and a dedicated bunker for ourselves. So let's pop into the office and see how much that is going to cost us. Okay, so I've had a nice little chat with the manager of the BGA. The fee involved is a little over 11,500. Now we are not exactly flush with cash right now, and we don't really have the right kind of equipment to work a bunker at the moment, so we'll be returning later in the year to purchase sort of an access pass, if you will, for the BGA, where we'll have ownership of one of those bunkers. And we'll be able to come and go pretty much as we please as well, which obviously is important when we're going to be doing silage work. We need to know that we can actually just hop in there, when we have grass that needs to be cut, and not be beholden to the sort of standard office hours, if you will. We're a farmer. We don't work in an office. We work on a farm, and office hours, if you will, are whenever we get up and whenever we go to bed. There's no set start and finish time. It's however much work needs to be done is our office hours on a daily basis. So nothing left for us to do now apart from return to the farm, get our two deers cleaned, put away, and then, as I say, tomorrow we will be planting soybean on field 1 now that we've got it all kind of prepped and ready. Hopefully we'll see a little bit of growth, and then we can spend the day after tomorrow maybe doing some fertilizing as well. Turn field 18 around a bit, and if we've got enough left over, do field 15 as well. And once that's done, and I'm sure we'll have some weed issues to take care of as well, then we can start looking at doing some silage baling and some hay baling. Send some products over to the zoo so that we can get a little bit of cash, and who knows, maybe that will be enough. We'll raise enough from doing some hay baling to unlock, or let's say to be able to afford to pay for the pass for the BGA, and that's a single fee. We don't have to pay that every year. It's just a one-off fee for the duration of our time here. So 11.5 grand, that's not too bad. That's pretty reasonable, considering we stand potentially to make a much larger sum of money than 11.5 grand. I don't begrudge paying a small fee like that at all. So we'll get these cleaned, we'll get them put away, and then we'll turn in for the night and start our final seed run of the year tomorrow. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with some more Marwell Manor very soon.